In this video, we'll talk about CPP, the Canada Pension Plan, which is what most Canadians will likely consider as a foundational resource in income planning for retirement. This is video 3 of our back to school, back to basics in investing and personal finance. My name is Hervin Pesa. I'm a financial planner, but just like you, I'm still on this journey to building wealth and financial independence. This channel aims to provide you with the money lessons we never learned from school. And to sprint towards this mission, we're publishing a video every single day in September, so be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss any of the lessons. So how does the CPP work? The Canada Pension Plan is designed to provide a monthly benefit to Canadian retirees, usually at 65, but you can choose to take it as early as 60 or opt to delay it as far back as 70 years old. You and your employer will have to make contributions to the CPP throughout your career. These funds are then invested and managed by an independent board. They oversee the viability of the funds so that it's around when it's your turn to draw an income. How much am I supposed to put into my CPP? Can I choose how much I put in? Well, as of 2021, you have to, meaning it's not optional. You have to contribute any amount that you earn above $3,500. You have to put in 5.45% of that up to the ceiling, which is the maximum pensionable earnings, or the YMPE, which for 2021 is $61,600. This amount is then matched by your employer. If you're self-employed, you will have to make both contributions, doubling your required deposits. These percentages are set to increase up to 5.95% in 2023. This is a part of a multi-year, multi-phase CPP enhancement designed to increase CPP benefits up to 50% once it's completed. See, as it stands, the CPP is designed to replace about 1/4 of the average Canadian's income while they're still working. Once the enhancements are complete, it's earmarked to replace about 1/3 of their working income in retirement. Can I rely on the CPP to still be there for me when I retire? Yeah, it should be. I mean, despite all the negative spins and the constant fear-mongering and the conspiracy theories around the CPP-IB, now known as CPP Investments, has done a fairly good job to make sure the fund does exactly what it's supposed to do. They are independent in a sense that they're not directly controlled by the government. There's been attempts, of course, to politicize investment choices and strategies in the fund using the guise of ethical and socially responsible standards. But as of now, the board still operates for you and I, not the parties in power, even if they're clearly incorruptible and morally superior compared to you and I, right? Wee scandal. SNC Lavalin. Ethics interference. The CPP actuarial audits are published every 3 years. The last one was in 2019. This gives an estimate of viability using the asset base, the contributions, the benefits paid out, and the last report gave a sustainability estimate of 75 years. That's beyond my lifetime. There will be another one at the end of this year, and I'll be sure to update you guys if there's any changes. See, the way that these funds are invested is well thought out, it's prudent, and it's diversified. So it's going to be there in my lifetime. It's also career suicide for a politician to try to put measures in place to remove or reduce these benefits, so I don't think it'll go away from that standpoint. So for now, we can rely on the CPP to provide a foundation for most Canadians when it comes time for them to retire. So how much can I expect to get out of the CPP? The current maximum for 2021 is $1,203.75, but the average benefit paid out in March was significantly less. It was $706.57. However, these amounts are then adjusted for inflation annually. For example, in 2020, the maximum payout was $1,175.83. This is roughly a 2% increase year over year. This inflation hedge or inflation protection will keep on happening for as long as you're taking the benefits too. So that's a nice perk. However, as far as what benefits you're actually gonna receive, there's a messy multi-step calculation to determine just how much you'll receive. So it's best just to ask Service Canada. I'll link the website and the contact information below so you can request an estimate for yourself. This is based on your overall contributions throughout your career. So here's a rough gauge, like a really rough gauge for you to use if if you want to see how close you would be to the maximum amount. It's based on the YMPE. The yearly maximum pensionable earnings in 2021 was $61,600. You'll have to make contributions to your CPP up to that amount. It doesn't matter how much more you earn after that, you're gonna hit a ceiling and they're gonna stop taking CPP withholdings from your paycheck. So somewhere in the middle of the year, you're gonna notice that your paychecks, your net take-home pay gets bigger after you paid off CPP and EI premiums. If that keeps happening to you throughout your career, it's very likely that your payouts are gonna be much closer to the maximum than the average that I just shared. So do I get disqualified from CPP if I stop working for a few years? Or what if I leave the country for a few years? See, even if you have a few years where you made little or no CPP contributions, there's a general dropout rate of 17%. This means if you work from 18 to 65, you can leave out 8 years of low contributions or no contribution years out of your average earnings. This effectively increases your CPP benefits. Here's another note for parents or parents-to-be. Beyond the general dropout provision, which ups your average, you can also apply for child rearing provisions. This allows you to further drop out years of low contributions or no contributions if you had a dependent child under 7 that you had to care for. And if you're in a couple, either one of you can opt for the child rearing provision, but this is not automatically calculated. You have to apply for this yourself. If you're getting less than the maximum amount at retirement and you raised kids at some point, you should try to amend and apply for the child rearing dropout provisions. Can I take the CPP early? Absolutely. The regular CPP benefit starts at 65, but you can get it as early as 60. However, this comes at a cost. It reduces your benefit by 0.6% every month that you are taking it before you're 65. So if you take your CPP at 60, you will effectively reduce your CPP by 36% for the rest of your life. If you're still working, there are very few circumstances where it makes sense to withdraw from the CPP, even if you're over 60. See, a reduction in your CPP reduces an inflation-protected income source. This means higher reliance on your own investments as the cost of living increases over your retirement life. If you haven't seen video 1 and 2, watch that after this so that you can see just how impactful this inflation hedge is when determining your other sources of income and ultimately how much you need to save for retirement. Do I have to take my CPP at 65 or can I delay my CPP uptake? Absolutely. There's a benefit to this. By taking the CPP later, you'll benefit from a 0.7% increase in your CPP income every month you delay your withdrawal past 65. This will take you up to an increase of 42% if you waited until you're 70 years old before you took CPP income. What else can the CPP do for me? Aside from the CPP benefit that most retirees are expecting, Canadians also get access to CPP disability if they suffer a severe and prolonged disability. The calculation for this is beyond the scope of this video. However, it's important for you to know about this. If you qualify for CPP disability and have dependent children, they could also qualify for CPP children's benefit. So be aware of this. When should I take my CPP? This is a very common question, but the truth is it depends. Some have a belief that this is just government money, so I'll just draw from it as soon as possible, while others believe that they need to delay their CPP for as long as possible so they can max out all the top-ups. But you can try to simplify it, you can complicate it. The truth is, the answer relies on your personal plan. It also relies on your life expectancy, whether you believe you're gonna live long enough to maximize the CPP benefits or not. But a better solution, in my opinion, takes an overall picture consideration. You can't just look at the CPP in a vacuum. You have to take other income sources as consideration, whether they're taxable or non-taxable. Are you subjected to any minimum required distributions from your other income sources? See, what if you don't really need the CPP income? Why take it? Watch yesterday's video as an overview for the overall retirement planning process so you can get a better feel for the other decisions and other factors that will help you answer this question. We'll also do a case study video showing the pros and cons of early CPP and late CPP uptake in an upcoming upcoming video. So be sure to subscribe if you haven't done so. What happens if I pass away before I get my CPP benefits? Let's first talk about the CPP survivor benefit. That depends on your family situation and how long you've been contributing to the plan. If you have a spouse or children, they may be eligible for the survivor's benefit, where they will get a portion of your CPP entitlements. For spouses to qualify, they must have been married or considered married living common law for at least a year. If you were single with no dependents, the only benefit available to you is $2,500 as a death benefit. This is probably one of the biggest criticisms in CPP. If an individual is unattached at the time of their passing, even if they paid tens of thousands of dollars into the CPP throughout their career, there is no benefit beyond the $2,500. So here's some closing thoughts on the CPP. Think of the CPP as a defined benefit contribution plan. You make contributions today and the investments are locked. You can't touch it, you can't change it, you can't make any withdrawals. So you have no emotional attachment to the choices either, which actually I think is a good thing in this case. It's probably one of the reasons why the fund has done so well. They can control the net inflows. The June 2021 report shows that the 5-year annualized return for the CPP fund is at 11.4%, while the 10-year return is at 11.1%. This is a significantly better return than most investors who tend to exert effort in timing and investments, and likely they would succumb to fear and greed all along the way. In yesterday's video, we did a case study of a couple whose government pensions accounted for a huge majority of their retirement income. Because of a more frugal lifestyle, they can look to using the CPP as a big bulk of their pension or their retirement income source. This is possible if you max out your CPP and you choose to retire on less. Tomorrow, we'll discuss the second bucket of income for most Canadians, which is old age security. See you then. Remember to stay aware, take control. I love y'all. Bye.